That is very important because you got to really understand and really look at that question. Do people that you deal with, do they understand the big picture? Do they really truly understand the big picture? And this is so important. You got to understand people's mindsets and their outlook on what life is going to be like or what everything is going to be, with the relationship that y'all got or whatever scenario you find yourself in with the people around you. Do they see the big picture? Do they see the big picture? And this is so important because if you don't sit there and you don't ask this question, and you ain't even got to ask people this, you have to sometimes take a step back and observe people and watch them to see if they understand the idea or the concept of the big picture. And this is so important is because if you don't recognize whether or not people see the longevity, they don't see the big picture, what you're going to do is you're going to get with people who only see the right here, right now. They only see the small picture. They don't understand and they don't grasp the big picture. And so as a result, you're going to be going through pure and utter hell, and then the outcomes that you want will never actually manifest, is because you're dealing and diving with people who don't see the big picture like you. They don't see the big picture, and it's like I'm telling you, you will go through pure hell and then be bitter as hell at the end of your life, because you was around people who don't understand or who don't really grasp the understanding of the big picture. You got to understand that a lot of people. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or something like that, but I'm telling you, a lot of people, they only think about petty things. They have a very petty mindset. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm telling you, they have extremely petty mindsets. And what I'm saying with petty mindsets is they only thinking about right here, right now. They thinking about gratification right here, right now. When you understand the big picture, you understand you got to go through sacrifice. Sometimes you got to sacrifice right now in order to gain a lot in the future. And so, with people in general, like you're understanding that I got to input something, I got to lose something, I got to sacrifice something right now. In the understanding, if I sacrifice now, I won't feel comfortable right now. I won't have instant gratification right now, but I understand that my actions and the investment that I'm putting right now, how it's going to work out for me in the long run. So yes, I'm going to humble myself enough. I'm going to do things, or I'm going to invest right now. Though I'm losing to the naked eye, it seems like I'm losing, but I understand the overall benefit it's going to have in the future. It's like when people go to college. People, they go to college because they understand the long term. But you gotta pay a lot of debt when you go into college. But you understand the long term benefit, and that's not for everybody. In college doesn't necessarily mean that But that's just like an example or something like that. It's just like an example, but just in general, I'm telling you, you gotta recognize whether or not people see the doggone big picture. Because what will happen is oftentimes myself and everybody else damn near on this earth does it. Is oftentimes what we do is we project who we are onto other people. We project who we are onto other people, and then the same thing, vice versa. Whereas people, they project who they are onto other people. And this is extremely important too. Why? It's because oftentimes the qualities, the traits, and the things, and the thought process that you have, you will put it onto other people that's around you, just because y'all got some type of relationship, y'all got some type of bond. You would assume everybody else understands your thought process. You would assume that everybody understands your actions and why you're making the moves that you do. You would think that people around you understand and they grasp this. You understand? And so people will see the value in you sacrificing right now for the long term benefit, for the long term big picture. But it's like, but the thing is, this is where you can mess up yet again, is because you are automatically assuming everybody think just like you. And that's not the case whatsoever. Again, I don't know if this necessarily is God or just our culture. It's like I'm telling you, a lot of people, they do not grasp the concept of the big picture. They don't understand it. They don't see the longevity. They don't understand. They don't. You be sitting there thinking that everybody else can see it. It's like, because to you it might be seem as clear as day what everybody needs to do and what you need to do. It seems clear as day. You're willing to do the dirty work in order for us to benefit greatly in the future. And you thinking it's just as clear as day and everybody else can see it, and everybody will obviously get where you're coming from. They will obviously understand the sacrifices that you make, and they will obviously see the big picture. And so they'll be more appreciative. They'll be more understanding. They can potentially help. They'll do this, this, and this. And then you'll come to the conclusion that these people don't know a goddamn thing about nothing. You sitting there and you throwing your seeds, you throwing your seeds on the concrete. That's what you'll realize sometimes dealing with certain people in certain environments. You had made the assumption that these people got it or these people will come through or whatever the case may be, and that can lead you to a spot of bitterness, and it can make you look at people in a certain type of way where you're untrustworthy, and it's completely understandable. But the thing is, you didn't realize that you was dealing with people who had petty mindsets. When you can see the big picture, sometimes it's like that's a quality of a leader. That's not necessarily always the case, but a lot of times that's the quality of leaders. I guarantee you, 99% of the leaders, they have the quality if they are able to see the big picture. They ever understand the long term goal. They understand the long term benefits. I guarantee you that's what most leaders understand. But you realize a lot of people, they're not leaders. And it's not even necessarily to be disrespectful to people, but you realize a lot of people, they're not leaders. Their thought process is not working in that way. Their thought process is they're just going through the motions. They're just doing what everybody else says. They don't see it. They just can't, they don't see it. And you realize it's like people, they don't have the vision to see certain things. They just don't got it. They don't. I don't think that their brain, or I don't think that God designed everybody to be in a position to see the long term picture, the big picture. And the thing is, you can explain it to a lot of people, but you got to understand that a lot of people, they won't care, and they just don't. They still won't get it. It's like a lot of people, they need to see it in order for them to see it, to really truly understand what you're talking about. And that's just what it is. They don't see the big picture. They don't. Some people, they're purposefully ignoring the big picture. They might see it, but they purposefully ignoring it is because they want whatever they want right now. And so again, this is all a lot of times the reason why it's so important for you, if you can see the big picture, in understanding the people around you, whether or not they can see it, is because you're going to be the one that's putting in most energy. You're going to be the one that's going to be more aggravated. You're going to be the one that in some way, shape, or form is going to suffer if you don't recognize the people around you don't see it, because they don't get it. They don't get it. They just don't get it. And it can be frustrating because it's like, how the hell can you not see? How can you not understand what we need to do, or whatever? How can you not see? Because they don't. I don't think people. Everybody has that ability to see. They don't. It's not to say that some people can't learn. It's not to say that some, but it's like in this world today, everybody's in self-aggrandizement. Everybody thinking that they Jesus 2.0 and that they got the answers and everything like that, running all over the place. They Jesus 2.0, but they still woefully following people and stuff like that. And again, it's not about condemnation. It's not about talking down on people and making people feel bad and saying that all people are wrong. No, people are people. And that's what I'm talking about, where you got to understand the concept that people are people. And a lot of people, they be having petty ass mindsets. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people. They have petty mindsets. They only thinking about right here, right now. They're not really truly thinking about the long term consequences. They don't understand these things. And so when you're talking to them and you're making the sacrifices that you're making, especially for the long term picture, a lot of people, they look at that in a weak light. Like, people, they don't get it, and they automatically go to their thought process that something is weak or strong, up or down, because they don't see the long-term benefits. They see the sacrifices that you're making, and they think that you're a fool, and they thinking that they'll be able to get up over on you in some way, shape, or form. They don't get it. They don't grasp it. They truly don't get it. They look at you as the weak one because they don't grasp why you're doing what you're doing. They don't get this point. They don't. And it's like people who are petty and who have that ego, that like that type of mindset, they gravitate to stuff that makes them feel better. So people be looking at the actions that you take, though you might be sacrificing right now. They look at the actions that you're taking, and they're not taking it from the perspective and the understanding that you're making sacrifices not out of some type of weakness, but you're making sacrifices that will aid everybody for the overall benefit in the end. But these people, they be looking at things from the perspective of their ego, meaning that it makes them feel good. It makes them feel superior when when something is perceived to be less than, or something is perceived to be making sacrifices towards them. Because what they do is they feel like, oh, this person is making sacrifices towards me because I'm so amazing. This person is making these sacrifices because they stupid, they slow, they don't get life. This person is making these sacrifices. Like, don't you understand what you need to do? Don't you understand you need to do bop, 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 bop? Don't you understand that? But they talking from the perspective of a consumer. They talking from a perspective of a follower. They talking it from the perspective of what they've been told they need to do. So they're looking at you and saying, why are you not doing what everybody else already know what to do? Why you don't know what to do? It's because they some followers. And again, I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way, but I'm telling you that's just what it is. It's because they some followers. And so these people, man, they be gravitating, like they just like to make themselves feel good at the moment, and they feel superior. Lo and behold, years later, or whatever happens down the line, whatever the time frame, when whatever you said comes into fruition, and then now they're made to understand the reality. Now you're a genius, now you're amazing, now you're all these things, but they already played themselves out of a position. They already played themselves. They didn't see the forest through the trees. Now they in court. Now they over here. And you tried to give them heads up. You tried to make sacrifices. You tried to put people on game to see the bigger picture. But they so damn focused on what makes them feel good at the moment. They can't see the big picture. They can't. That's going to drive you up the wall. Again, this is not about condemnation. It's not about going around and despising people because they can't see the long term or the big picture of things, of relationships, of actions in certain ways, or just different behavioral dynamics. They don't see the long term benefit. Sometimes people come at you in a reckless way out their mouth to a certain degree, especially in your youth before you really start learning boundaries and things of that nature. People don't understand that you don't clap back at them for a reason. And when I mean clap back, I mean you ain't trying to go at them in the very same energy and cut them down in a certain type of way. And the reason being is because you understand when you say something, you can't put that back into the whatever. Whenever you squeeze the toothpaste out of the doggone tube, you can't put that toothpaste back in. So you understand not to say certain type of things because you already understand what the long term benefit, the repercussions is going to be when you say certain type of things. But certain people who don't see the long term picture, they say something when they mad or upset right now, and then what happens is whatever relationship they was just in, it becomes unrepairable. It's no longer repairable because of what somebody said out their mouth. But they want to try to change it after the toothpaste is already out of the tube. You see what I'm talking about? They don't see the big picture of you not saying certain type of things, even when you mad, because it comes to a point when you say certain things out your mouth, even when you mad, there's a point of no return. There's a level of disrespect that there's no longer, like certain disrespect. It's a done deal for certain relationships with certain people. But people who have a petty mindset, they don't see that stuff. They're not even, I'm telling you, it's just difficult. It's extremely difficult to even really work with a lot of people because they just don't get it. They don't get it till it's too late. They don't get it. They make foolish choices, playing foolish games to get foolish prizes, and then they're weeping and boo-hooing at the end of the game. And that could be extremely frustrating because you be looking at people like, I just told you that. You're not trying to do it in a way like, I told you, I told you. No, you look at it, people, I told you that. Because people down there in a dire situation, once everything comes into fruition that you've been trying to put people on the game and tell them, let them know, you like, man, I that's why I tried to tell you before. Like I'm and you thinking it was some type of negative that I was doing. I was trying to let you know that this is what's going to happen. We got to make sacrifices right now. We got to do certain things right now. Oh no, I ain't gonna do it. Like in the past, like everybody had everything easy, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. They had all that stuff to say out their mouth. They had all that lip. They had all that doggone talk. And then when things pan out how they pan out, now everybody crying, weeping, boohoo, and acting like they ain't never had a chance or whatever the case may be. It's like it's exhausting. It's exhausting because it's like, dude, who you even go to? And that's why sometimes you got to seek out people who understand the bigger picture. Some people who understand when it's important to humble themselves. You ain't got to say the last word all the time. You ain't got to go back in this back and forth and always have that last word. You ain't always got to win every damn fight. You ain't got to always do certain type of things. What about the bigger picture? What's the bigger picture of all this stuff? Do they understand or grasp that? You don't have to hate people, but you got to recognize when they don't see it because you got to change your expectations. You got to change your expectations. When you project who you are onto other people, oftentimes it's going to lead you down a bad road because you thinking in your head, everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going to do this and that. You willing to sacrifice. You willing to give. You willing to come through for people and help people and stuff like that. You might not necessarily ask for anything in return, but you're doing it from the perspective of, the big picture is I'm coming through and I'm helping because I know when I need help or other people need help, we can come in together and help each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna be there for you too, but you realize it's a naive way of thinking because everybody ain't thinking on that level. Again, people, they want you to come help them when they're in a dire circumstance, but when the shoes in of the foot, you can't find these people. You can't. They're like Casper the Friendly Ghost. They might be there in spirit, but they damn sure ain't there in flesh. Where did they go? Where did they go? They want you to pour into them, but they don't want to pour into you, and they don't see the long-term consequences of that type of behavior. They want you to be there for them, but they don't want to be there for other people, and they don't see the long-term consequences in their behavior. I'm telling you, everybody's not a leader. They're not a leader. So a lot of people, they have a mindset of an employee. So they don't understand when bosses or these corporations or whatever a situation is, they're making certain type of changes that the employees don't understand. Like it's going to affect them a certain type of way. They get mad at management or they get mad at these people with this corporation and stuff like that. And they're lambasting these people and stuff like that. But they don't even recognize that the reason why they changed the policies, they changed things in a certain type of way was to keep the business afloat and to keep those employees having a job. Had they not, whoever's at the top, the one that's made the decision and understands the long-term goal, the big picture, had they not done whatever they done, the employees would have lost their damn jobs. But the employees, they don't understand completely why the management did whatever they did, and they sitting there talking about the management all doggone day. Don't even realize that the management saved their job because they don't see the big picture of things. They don't get it. They're employees. Again, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to people. I'm wholeheartedly is not saying that in that way. It's just the reality that people, their mindset is not right there. Their mindset is on right here, right now. It's a petty mindset. It's a petty mindset. It's not to be disrespectful. They thinking about right here, right now. How often do two people, they make decisions and now they're in cell block C. Now they're in cell block C because they made a decision right now that in the moment they might have felt good to make a certain type of decision in the moment, but then now the long-term cause of that is they own cell block C for the next 25 years. And then they like, man, I should have never, they got hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020 when you need it. Like, dang, man, I should have did it like this. Dang, man, I should have listened to old boy. Dang, I should have did this. Dang, I should have did that. It's oftentimes, man, people don't understand the contributions that you make and the things that you say until you're already gone, until it comes into fruition, and they have nowhere to hide now. They have nowhere to run. But you was trying to put people onto game, and you was trying to explain these things to people when they had the opportunity, when you was there, and people, they scoff, they laugh, and they talk about you and they might not talk about you in your face, but they talk about you behind your back, acting like you crazy and you don't know what you're talking about, or da 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 da. And then when it comes to fruition, it's like they get mad at you even more. Because it's almost like they're mad that you're right and they're mad that they're in the situation that they're in. And it's like they don't want to take accountability and take responsibility to say, dang, I wasn't really listening. Dang, I should have understood. Or dang, I didn't recognize the long-term big picture of this person was saying. All they're going to do is just blame you. They're going to hate on you. They're going to act like you did something funny for the money. And it's like, no, I told you. We No. I was making sacrifices because I understood what was going to happen. I'm not saying that to, oh, I'm better or whatever. I understand the long term. What's the big picture? It's not about always about me getting my get back or me having some type of satisfaction in that moment. It's not always about me in that moment. Sometimes it's about the community. So I can sacrifice myself to a certain degree so that the future community is going to be much more bountiful or whatever the case may be. It's going to be better. People are more on game. I'm willing to sacrifice now. People, they don't see it like that. They don't grasp that, man. It's like it's just so wild. It's just so wow. They don't see it. They don't see it. They don't see the damage that a lot of these new social thoughts, social programs, how it's going to lead to their demise. And then when you come in and you telling people and you putting people onto game and you trying to get them to see how the long-term picture, they ain't trying to hear nothing you talking about. You don't see how these people using your emotions against you, and you trying to tell people they ain't want to hear what you're talking about. You trying to get people to understand the motives as to why people do what they doing, and you trying to show them evidence, facts. They don't want to hear what you're talking about. And they thinking that you just a hater. They thinking that you just negative. You're honorary. What? That has nothing to do with it. Oh, you're a cynic. No, I'm a realist. I'm a realist in the understanding that I understand that maybe I might not like what the heck is going on out here, but if I'm not real with reality, all it's going to do is hurt me. It's going to come at my demise. That's what's going to happen if I'm not real with reality, because reality is going to be reality regardless of what I do. It doesn't matter how far I run. It doesn't matter how what I do to try to mask it up, or put some type of illusionist type of spell. No, reality is reality, and it will always come. And though I don't like saying reality, it's not to say you are trying to hurt people's feelings or whatever the case may be. It's just an understanding. I gotta be truthful, because even though I might not like it right now and it hurts my feeling, hurt my pride, whatever the situation is, it doesn't change the fact that if I ignored it, it's going to be, if I ignore it and I just keep on moving into the future, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. And I got to look at the big term picture, the long term picture. I got to understand that, yes, I can sacrifice right now. No, I don't like to sacrifice, but I'm sacrificing for the good of the community, for the good of my people, for the good of my family. Right now, I'm sacrificing. But people who don't grasp that concept, they don't understand why you do the things that you do. And oftentimes, when people don't understand you, and people in general, when people don't understand something, they reject it. They hate it or they reject it. They don't grasp it, so they reject it, and they disdain it or something like that. It's because they don't get it. But oftentimes, what people will do is, because even if you're a complex person, or they don't truly understand what you're saying when you say interpret certain type of things. A lot of people, they could intrinsically and somewhere deep down in their soul know that whatever you're saying is the truth. But the thing is, when people can't process what you're talking about, when they truly can't process it, or they can't understand truly what it is, because oftentimes a lot of people, they might not go through the same things as you. They don't see the same things. Even if they're older than you, it doesn't mean that these people are more wise than you, and you haven't gone through more trials and tribulations than them. So even the elderly don't want to understand exactly what you're talking about. They're gonna reject it. They're gonna label you and call you cuckoo crazy, that you don't really know what you're talking about, that you're just talking and you don't really know what you're saying. But then it always will come into fruition. And now these people looking at you like you did something wrong. They looking at you in a disrespectful manner, like you did something funny for the money. When you put people on game a long time ago, they wasn't trying to hear what you saying. They wasn't trying to hear it. But it's like, how do you even have a relationship with people? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, and the people make it sound like, or try to act like you in the wrong because you want to live in a life that's reality based. Again, it's not trying to do it in a way where you feel like you better than. Nobody really wants to live in reality. I know I don't always. We're telling the truth, man. I know a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. I know I don't want to hear the truth half of the doggone time. But the fact of the matter is, again, just like with anything else, with reality is gonna come regardless. Why not accept the truth now in comparison to later? Why not bite the bullet now and sacrifice now for the overall good of the people, the good of myself when in the future? Why would I not do that? Why would I, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like people, they be acting like something wrong with you. It's like, you know what? I just, you just wash your hands clear of it and say, okay, do what you got to do. Move how you want to move. Go do, just do what you got to do. But the thing is, again, people, man, they going to run to them damn pits and then be pissed off that they're now in the pit. They're now in cell block C. And then they can look at you and then they see that you maneuvered around those pitfalls and they get mad at you like you did something wrong. Understand that, especially when you having partners or whatever. I'm not saying that you just can't you should remove anybody that can't see the long term picture. I'll say take a mental note and understand what you can and cannot trust this type of individual with. Y'all might not necessarily have a huge, deep connection or whatever the case may be. This might just be somebody's fun to kick it with, whatever case may be, because you understand they don't even get the long term picture. You stop talking after a while because again, when you talking and people are not receiving whatever you're saying, and they keep on rejecting it, it's like you taking seeds and throwing them on the concrete and expecting the concrete or these seeds to grow and mature, and you can get some type of harvest. You're not going to get it. Your words become worthless when it comes onto ears that people who not trying to hear what you're talking about, or they don't care, or they have a petty mindset. They don't really get it. That could be frustrating for you, but it's just like an understanding. Sometimes that's a curse in life. It's a curse and it's a blessing. It's not necessarily just a negative thing, but it's just something you got to recognize you're going to have to come in contact with in life. That's like people, they don't see the long term picture. They don't get it. They just don't get it. And they'll get it in the future. They'll get it in time. But it's like at that point, damn near too late. So, with all that being said, I catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.